Got so much stuff on my desk. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Look at my desk. I just grabbed stuff and threw it out there. Hello, Ingrid. How are you today, my dear? Uh, Today we are all about water pallets and stuff, right?
Yep. Today it's pallets and tubes, I think, or something like that. Just your regular stuff. Yeah, talk about it. I've got so many ideas going around in my head that I've had a hard time this morning getting myself a little more calm.
Yeah. And I'm just the opposite because I was doing other things and wasn't thinking about this at all. So it's okay. I'm so zoned out on other stuff that what are we doing today? I don't know.
Figure out as you go. We do that quite often, I think.
Fly by the seat of my pants. Yep, that's me. So pallets, I have lots of different pallets. One of the things you see here is this. This is like a butcher tablet. I don't know what you call it, but they have them at your arts and crafts places. This is a big tray that you can use for putting your color out on. I tend to work with a lot of my own palettes. So I'll take a ceramic palette like this and I'll put my colors out that I'm working with, because if I'm gonna work with a particular palette, I may want to come back to this palette later, or so I try to set it up so that if I'm working something, I can come back and use the same colors again without having to think too hard. There's Jenny and Marie and Sybil and Peggy. Hi, guys.
People are rolling in.
So, and then my friends enable me. I have this little palette, which I love, but another friend of mine sent me a great big one that's about 3 times that size. And I got this one, which is like an egg tray holder, but you can see how I leave the colors there for something that I'm working with. And then I've got my color palette already set up to work with. Here's one that I was setting up the other day. And so I was putting my colors out here. And then as I was doing that, I was thinking, well, there's a few other colors I would like to have. So I had, as I was looking at my colors, I thought, what do I want? And one of the things that I wanted was, I didn't have a Naples Yellow, and Shel and I both love Naples Yellow. And I wanted kind of a violet. Not a purple, but a violet. And so I got this violet. So I'm going to put some of that out there.
Violet's purple.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it.
You keep telling me that, and I keep saying it's different.
It isn't. It's just a blue purple.
Well, it's a red purple. It is. It's a red purple.
Yeah, it is a red purple, but nonetheless, it's still purple.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a real royal purple fan, but I will do the reds and blues.
I'll do any purple, including ones that are called something else like periwinkle. Periwinkle blue is purple. I'm going to tell you right now.
No, it's not. It's blue. It That's why they call it periwinkle blue.
It's not blue.
Well, it depends.
Liar,
when I went to the paper store, looking for periwinkle because my daughter chose periwinkle for her wedding color.
Mm-hmm.
They could not identify it for me because they had so many different choices.
Well, there's always choices.
Yeah. So anyway, there's Debbie coming in, and Carla's here. Hi. Carol's here. Hello. So anyway, I pulled out, this is my pile of color over here that I have out in my palette. I may use this one. I don't know. I'm just going to set that aside. But these, I just keep in a zipper bag, and I can build a palette like this for whatever colors I want to work with. And then I can just take my spritz bottle and spritz that down, get it nice and wet so it's ready to go. So this is a must. You got to have water. And I have other palettes that I like this is the one from Golden, but it's not, I look at these, the only ones that really granulate the way I like them is this Viridian Green and the Phthalo Blue, maybe a little bit of the Ultramarine, but these others are pretty flat. Nice colors, but they're not my favorites. So I'm going to set that aside. And of course, you guys know, palette-wise, this Mission Gold one is one of my favorite palettes too. This was gifted me by a dear friend, and you can see this has lovely colors. It's a great palette. So, and then, speaking of building your own, this was just an old tin where I took my metallic watercolor, like my koi. I got rid of most of my large koi pans, but I kept the metallics for some reason. So I put them in here because I like those. Don't ask me why. Because how many times do you see me do shimmer? But I do like these. I do like shimmer on darker surfaces. So yeah, I kept them. We were talking about travel this morning. Shel and I were talking about travel. And for travel, some of these small ones are really great for palette. Hey, Vicky, hi. Jenny, hi. This is a nice little one from Sennelier. Good little size, good variety of color.
So it's funny that you say you got rid of your koi. I actually really enjoy my koi travel set, and I'm going to talk about that and some other stuff here.
I think I may have saved the koi travel set. I got rid of the whole big pan because it was in that big box,
Oh, you mean this one? This
that big green box?
Tambi one like this?
Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
I got rid of that because it wasn't my favorite, and I had a lot of other watercolors, right?
Yeah, I have more watercolors than I even knew I had. It's ridiculous.
Well, and the cool thing about some of these small ones is you can take some of your extra pans and actually fit them in here for your travel case and make another. I mean, that's why I like these small pans that you can pop in and out and make your own palette with.
Yeah, like this one, you mean? Like, well, actually this one too, and this one. You can, I made this palette with my own hands. I forgot to set up my secondary camera. Sorry, guys. I was so full of stuff this morning, I could not focus. I had too many things. I got too many things I want to say.
She is full of it today. Oops. Hey, Kathy. Hi. So yeah, when you make it your palette, I mean, this is a palette I made from some Daniel Smiths that I had, and you see I still have room for those new colors that I just got. So I can add either full or half pans in here depending on how much I use it. I can pick what size I want to add. So, but some of these are my favorites. Like I love the Moon Glow. You guys like the Moon Glow? And yes, Shel, it's a gray purple. I
You
like,
like purple. You just won't admit it.
well, I like the imperial purple because it's a red purple and it granulates really nicely. And the indigo. Oh man, I love the indigo. So I mean, I have my favorites in this palette. Just saying. But yeah, that's one that I had made with my uh, Daniel Smiths. But
And
you
this,
know, if you're just looking for a small palette that's already got some color selections, these ones from uh, these are better. The Sennelier. You can also get like your Jane Davenport and your Prima. But the thing about the craft style or the student grade is they're going to have more filler in them, not as much pigment. So just know that if you want rich, vibrant color, you probably want a better watercolor so that you don't have to layer and layer and layer.
I mean, I agree with that. However, I have discovered as I'm going through swatching all these things, some of them like this koi. Okay, so I think there's a difference. I'd see my difference not between price per se or whether it's professional or not. I think, and that does make a difference. Here I am trying to tell you what I mean, but I think if you want something that's not super expensive, because quality premium watercolors are hella expensive. They just are. And it's because the pigments that they make them out of are expensive.
Yeah.
But if you want bright color in one coat, that's still a water soluble product that is still affected by water and can still be removed in the same way, but is bright. I would suggest going with the Japanese. And they are inexpensive and they're almost kind of like a gouache because a gouache is opaque, right? So what I wanted to talk about today is the difference in quality between different expensive versus inexpensive. And the reason that I went down this path is because I wanted to talk about black watercolor paper. And yeah, there is such thing as black watercolor paper. And to me, when I first bought this, I said to myself, that makes no sense because watercolor in its truest form and its most expensive form is translucent. Almost all the colors are see-through. So why would you make black watercolor paper? The idea of watercolor paper is that it's an absorbent paper, right? It absorbs the paint. That's its whole purpose. So I understand it's a black absorbent paper, but I could not understand what in the Hades was it for? Because that makes no sense. So then I started swatching out some of my colors on black watercolor, just trying to figure out. I mean, I know the metallics work, right? These are my starry colors. This is again Japanese. It's a Kuretake brand starry colors, right? These are metallics. Well, I know that works on black. I thought I had a set of metallic watercolors, but I don't, surprisingly. But then I'm looking through all my different palettes and my different tubes and piles of things. And I knew that these less expensive but very vibrant colors that I like to use from, here it is, it was right in front of me, from Koi, also made by Sakura, and also this bigger palette, which I think is a different brand, but it's the same idea. Japanese colors, because they have a specific palette, the Japanese, right? They've got their own situation going on. This one is the Ganzi Tambai. I knew that these were more opaque because when I painted with them, I realized that I would get fast color really, I mean, bright, intense, fast color really quickly without having to worry about putting layer upon layer upon layer. So then I started swatching them out and I figured out the way that you can tell what type of watercolor it is. Like this one is a handmade palette that I just bought that has neon colors in it. And look, it shows up on black paper. So that means it's opaque. So it's watercolor, but it's opaque. So to me, unless you're really trying to make an ephemeral layer upon layer upon layer professional watercolor, perhaps what you would want is these Japanese style watercolors. They're not gouache, they're not chalky, but they are quick, inexpensive, bright color. So I swatched this one, which is a Koi watercolor field sketch box that I've had for a really long time. And I already had this sketch, this swatch, which is it's on white. But look at what it looks like when it's on dark. Some of them are actually opaque. Not all of them. So then I said to myself, well, what about these other ones I have in this homemade palette? Where is it? This one. One time, you know, I get a lot of offers for people to send me free stuff that I can show on my channel, you know, and Arteza is one of these companies that's constantly contacting me saying, hey, can we send you some stuff so you can make a video, you know? So at one time, I got this huge 60 colors of Arteza watercolor tubes, which we might play with later if I have time. But I did make a palette. I also got the palette, the empty palette from them. And I thought I would make a palette of desert colors because the only 24 will fit in the palette. I wanted desert colors. Green, lots of greens. So I picked out those colors and I put them on, you know, I put them in here and I made this chart that shows me the color. And then I don't know if you guys can see, I drew the little squares that show whether it's opaque, semi-opaque, or translucent. And I picked mostly opaque ones. So then this morning, when I was being all weird, I decided to swatch them on black watercolor paper. And look at that. They show up. So these are inexpensive too. Obviously, Arteza. Some would say it's student grade, right? They say it's professional grade. Some would say this is a student grade paint. But, gosh, for the price. And you can put it on black. Who knew?
Yeah, you know, so work with your own budget. What works for you? And your own color palette. I pulled these out because these are the ones from Art by Marlene. And I know some of you really love the bright and bold colors. Yeah. She has two different sets here. The Whimsy and Bright, to me, is a little grayed down in here. These would be more of your nature tones and the wine. But if you want the one that's really in your face, bright and bold, I would say the Bold and Bright from Art by Marlene has really vibrant color. So let me swatch some of it, not swatch, but let me put some of this down on my, oh yeah, sling it all over, Peg. I'm going to get some of this hot, hot pink. It's called Floral Magic. And just start putting some of that down. I'm going to drop in. And this is just a dry paper right now. I'm going to add some of this orange. This is just to, you know, kind of show you some of these colors. And even though this is not best quality watercolor, they're very vibrant, very bold colors. And you may like something like this if you're into those really bright colors.
Now, see, I don't have any of those type of things because here's my theory. If I buy this one over here, that's $15. And this one over here that's by Art by Marlene or Jane Davenport, that's $40. They're about the same. It's because you've added someone's name to it. The exception is I just bought a Prima complexion set, which has colors of skin tones, which I thought was a good idea. But in general, I tend, unless I know it's a product I like I know I love Dina Wakley's heavy body acrylic paint, and I love all their bright colors, I will buy that. But in general, and especially after getting all excited about Jane Davenport and then being so incredibly disappointed in her stuff.
Yeah, Jane Davenport quality, that was American Craft. And I got to say the quality of that stuff when it came out was pretty disappointing.
Right. So I haven't bought any since. I'm not going to buy her stuff because if that's what she's putting her name on, then she can have it. And maybe it's changed. Maybe it's gotten better. Who knows?
I hope it's changed because, well, and for the company's sake too, because they were not doing themselves any justice by putting something like that out there.
Yeah, it was junk. Junk.
Anyway, I've totally scrubbed the heck out of that and made a hot mess. Just sitting here listening to Shel.
So if you guys wonder what I'm doing while I'm prevaricating on the fact that I think that Japanese watercolors for your money might be a good deal after all. After buying extremely expensive watercolors, which I do love. The thing that I love about the expensive watercolors like Daniel Smith and my new Sennelier ones are that they granulate. Oh, and that leads me into another comment. Somebody said to me on my channel in a comment after I was talking about granulating watercolors that there's this stuff, and I just ordered it. It just came. And it's called granulating medium. Apparently, there's that. So if you have a watercolor that's not granulating, maybe you mix it with this instead of water. Haven't tried it yet. It's still sealed, but I'm going to try it. So what I was doing here, in case you guys were wondering, is I was making something like this because I'm going to make a project. But I did also want to, got too many things going on. I also wanted to do black watercolor, and I also did some other things. And then I was thinking about, if you don't have a palette, but you've got tubes, what might you do with it? And yeah, this morning has been like that. I woke up at 4 o'clock with all these things in my head, and it hasn't stopped since. So I wanted to make a multicolor background with washes, and I think I put like maybe 2 layers on this. I've splashed it with water, and then I've also splashed it with 91% alcohol, because when you splash pigment with alcohol, it separates. And I'm trying to get something real with a lot of texture and different values of color. So it should end up something like this. I just stuck my finger right in watercolor that's been moistened. So I'm kind of drying in between. Because my original plan was to do this, and then I got all these other ideas.
Well, that's what happens. So let's see. I'm going to grab a board here, I think. I get these cheap cutting boards and things that I glue things down to. And what I did is I wet both the back side and front side of this. These are cheaper papers. If you do not want buckling and curling on your paper, you probably want to go with something that's 300 pounds. That's expensive paper. So, for practice and stuff like this, I just get the cheap $10 pad from Walmart and go for it, because it's perfectly fine. You can flatten it out later. You can iron the stuff if you want to. But if you don't want it buckling while you're working, just tape it down to a board and, wet both sides. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I generally did that. I just didn't today because I was too busy being silly about stuff. So mine's buckling like crazy, but you can spit after it's done. You can spritz the back of it, and you can set it a heavy thing on top of it, like a heavy book, and it'll flatten out. So it's not the end of the world if you forgot to tape it.
I must have gotten some water on my board because I didn't want to lay down there. Anyway, last week, Shel was working with some masking fluid, and I have this pen I was telling you is from Pebeo, which is a drawing gum. And I was upstairs this week in preparation, trying to use it on this paper. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but you can see where I was drawing. And it was not flowing real well. And I thought, okay, Shel had problems. I'm going to have problems. I should probably just order another pen. Now you can see there's a difference in the nib. This nib is kind of a fine point. And there's where the gumming is kind of clogged up on there. But I was drawing with it on the paper, and I was having difficulty getting it out. This is the Molotow masking fluid. I think there's supposed to be a ball in there to shake it up with. I'm not hearing that because you can see the separation in here. So this is just the way it came to me. I just got this one from Amazon this week, and it's not mixed up real well.
Yeah, you really gotta shake them.
Yeah.
They separate. This is a Molotow one too. I don't know if I tried this one last week or not. I know I'm pretty sure it's screwed. It's messed up though. Look at that.
So anyway,
I ordered some new masking fluid too.
With this one, it's more of a blunt tip. Let's see if I can get some to flow out of here. I haven't used this one yet. So I'm pushing it down, releasing the valve, see if I can get it to flow. It's a brand new pen. It should be flowing.
I don't know if you can see it.
Maybe. And of course, it's not flowing. The thing's flattening out. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I can see the action in there. Anyway, just know that these are things you have to fiddle with.
Yeah, I got something new, and I'm so far pretty happy with it. I did two things. I actually had this before, and I never took it out of the package. Because when I first started with watercolor, I thought, oh, I need masking. Because, you know, I'm a fan of masking. I mask everything all the time, right? Whether it's usually acrylic, but sometimes ink. I mean, I love to do masking effects. So I bought this thing, and it's wooden, right? It's wood. Has two different nibs on it. It's kind of this weird, I don't know. It almost feels just slightly spongy.
Yeah.
Made by Graphics, the incredible nib.
And you still have to wash them out really well.
Well, you don't want to get anything on your brushes, right? So this thing apparently, and I did it. I got this new Graphics brand liquid frisket, incredible white mask, and you dip it in water and soak it. You soak this wooden thing, and then you can just dip it and draw with it. So I did. On the black and the white, and we'll try those out and see how it goes, see how well it removes. But I was much more happy with that than anything else.
Yeah, and the other thing that works well for that is like if you've got these silicone tools, you can use these.
Yeah, I do have some of those, but I did not get one of those out and try it. because I found that in my drawers. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, this. Never even took it out of the package. Like, really?
So the other thing about the Pebeo one is they do give you an extra nib here.
Well,
So if
that's
you
smart.
need to change it out, you do have another nib. So that's kind of nice of them. And this tube is much larger than the Molotow, so you're getting more product in your pen. Just an observation. One of the things that I like to do is create really highly saturated backgrounds with watercolor, and then let that dry down, and then look at it and figure out what portions I want to bring out. And then I can get a scrub brush and I can scrub out some of the color in certain areas. But this is a really good quality watercolor paper. Now, Kathy was asking me if I had tried mixed media paper. I've tried mixed media paper. I'm not a fan of mixed media paper. Even for mixed media, I'm not a fan of mixed media paper.
I think I'm too heavy-handed for mixed media paper.
Yeah,
I think
it
I put too much
feels,
water
it
on it.
gives me trouble, and so I'm just not a big fan of mixed media. And I don't know what kind of mixed media paper you're using, Kathy. Maybe you just want to let people know what you like, but not my cup of tea.
There are definitely different qualities of it, and I have been meaning to look into that, but you know, it's more money to spend, so I haven't.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with your watercolor paper. Like, this is just a student grade watercolor paper that I have out here. But if you are serious and you want better paper, you can get better paper. You can get the 300-pound paper. You know, I bought a bulk of that some time ago.
There's
And
a difference between hot press and cold press. I think the hot press is more high quality because it feels
well, it's smoother just because it's been pressed.
Yeah, it's smooth.
I don't know that the quality is any better. It's just smoother. And the sizing makes a difference, you know, because there's different processes for sizing. So like there's internal sizing and there's external sizing. And the sizing makes a difference in how long the pigment sits on the surface of your paper. So, you know, there's a lot of things to take into consideration when it comes to paper.
A lot of things to take in consideration when it comes to all the things about watercolor. Right?
Yeah. So
like, wow, okay. How much pigment is in the paint? What kind of paint is it? What kind of paper you got? I mean, it's a lot more complex than oh, I guess I'm not a friend. Then just, you know, slapping some acrylic on something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm an acrylic girl, because it's just, I can quickly get a result without all the fussing.
So I don't know if you guys know who Tracy Bautista is, but at Christmas time, she had done a set of her handmade watercolors. And so I had ordered it. And so this is those colors swatched out. And you can see what I like about it is that they are very different. They've got things that crystallize and granulate and do all kinds of fun things in here. And to me, they're very natural tones. I mean, they're not the vibrant, bright tones. They're more muted than that. So what she'll send you is a palette like this that's got these swatches on here. And so you can just take your brush and pick up those colors and you can blend them. You know, I can pull them off and blend the colors down here.
I don't know, you guys can't see. There's too much stuff on my desk. Who made this mess?
I don't know. Would it be somebody named Shel?
Yeah, maybe. Could have been me. So I'm using my Gansey Tambi ones on this black, and I've masked it out with some fish And I'm starting with the background, not being too precious because it's got masking on it. But these Japanese watercolors that Peg didn't like and got rid of
Yep.
work on black paper because they're opaque. That's probably why she didn't like them, because they're not.
That's right. Because if I'm going to use watercolor, I want it to be translucent. If I want something that's not, I'll use acrylic. It's just my preference.
Yeah.
So I've got some pooling going on because my paper is buckling.
Yeah, that's the deal
With cheap paper.
Cheap paper. Is it, if you don't stretch it and tape it like a good girl, and you just go and
Right. I mean,
start going with it, then you might end up with the situation that you're not.
I always recommend is, stretch your paper.
Yeah, but some of us are just too impatient, and we just don't. And then, things happen, people. Things happen. I was too impatient to stretch my paper today. I did it last week. It's just an extra couple steps. And you have to wait for it to dry.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about that.
That's the hard part right there, the waiting.
What? I have to wait? I don't wait. Right. So yeah, that's what happened.
Anyway, I want to lay some of these sparkly things in here. We'll set this aside to dry.
I'm very jealous of your Tracy Bautista. I want those. I want some of those. I want all of those. What are we talking about? I don't just want some.
And what she sends is not just this palette, but she sends some, these are the bottles of the inks. You can see the mica in these.
So did you buy a kit or something, or how? I don't even know.
It was a set. It was a set, It's just a,
so you got some of her fluid ones and some of her palette ones.
She sends a few palettes and a few tools, and yeah, I mean, these are some of the palettes that come with this.
Yeah, I saw Mary Beth Shaw with those, and they look almost like gemstones. Like she puts gemstones or something. I don't know, but
yeah, see what the pan looks like? It's got the mica right in there like that.
I saw
those. Different. It's really different.
Ooh, I want that. I said to myself, and I said, no, you behave yourself.
Yeah.
I said, but
this was
it's sparkly.
Like Christmas thing to me kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't do this kind of thing often because I got a lot of other stuff to get. So I don't want to dry any of this. I want it to dry down naturally. So I'm going to set this aside. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to do is take a skewer and just do a mark making on here so that you can see what that looks like, because that's kind of cool. Okay. Now I'm going to set it aside to dry. So what else do I have here?
Everything.
These were just, mark making things that I had begun. Here's the palette that I had started out with this morning. Yeah, and I'm not a fan of Strathmore either, Kathy. Canson, I prefer over Strathmore. I mean, it's a preferential thing. Everybody has their own choices, right?
Yep.
Strathmore's cheap, but yeah, not my thing. And it probably has to do with how heavy-handed I am versus, you know, what somebody else does. All right, I was looking
Yeah,
for...
if you're a super messy girl, you know, maybe you put way too much water on things and you put way too many layers. Then maybe
and that would be me. That would be me. Moi. I am super number one messy girl. You guys know that about me.
I think I'm going to make this one into a, if it turns out nicely, I might send it as a birthday card to boy number 2, because he lives by the ocean.
I was having issues this morning. I have a couple of stands for my brushes. I don't know what I've done with them.
Get some of these guys going with it. Why not?
So I guess I'll just go without. It's okay. So yeah, you can see where I was just doing some mark making on this.
Brush is dirty.
And I've got these. I want to try this Naples Yellow. That's a new one.
Oh yeah, see what it's like. I love Naples Yellow as a color.
Where's my... Jeez. I'm losing it already.
I didn't take it.
I just want to moisten this a little bit. That was a little bit more than a little bit. Yeah, so let me get some of this. Yeah, Naples Yellow. It's great yellow.
So I have 3 jars of water. It's a good idea to have multiples when you're doing watercolor, because your jar of water gets dirty really quickly and it's gross. Huh, I'm surprised that that isn't much brighter.
Drop in
neons.
some brighter yellow.
Uh-oh. Nick is thinking about barking. Don't do it, doggo. Don't do it. She's like, I hear those dogs out there barking and I want to join them and have a bark fest. So that's what dogs do.
Okay, so let's add another color in here.
Gonna need some purple, but is it this purple or is it that purple? That's the question which everyone should ask. Let's try this purple. This one says it's neon. I like purple. It's just not right if there's no purple.
If you say so.
I say so. got to be purple. Maybe I'll go with some more of this pinky color from this neon set. I also should get out my Starry Colors metallics because they're awesome. Oh. Stripes. He's got stripes. They're just not showing up. Oh, I also ordered some brushes. They haven't come yet because I realized I didn't have any like really tiny liners that were still in good shape. The ones that I had were wrecked, you know how my stuff gets.
I have to show you this set I got from Jerry's Artorama. I think you'll like it. It was, when we went to Art of the Carolinas, I got this set of really teeny tiny brushes.
Oh.
I think I moved them to the other side of the room.
Yeah, you keep moving stuff around.
Well, I was trying to get some like tools with like tools,
Yeah.
So this is the micro mini brush set that I got there.
Oh.
And it's got all kinds of little bitty brushes. Jerry's Artorama. I mean, you talk about liners. Look at that liner. Isn't that lush?
Oh, look at that. Are they synthetic sable or something?
I'm pretty sure they're synthetic because they're from Creative Mark. They're not very expensive. But it's a nice set. No, I don't even know. I have some synthetic mixes, but I don't think I have any really super duper fancy brushes. Because I'm too hard on them.
Yeah. That's why I separate out my watercolor ones and I don't use them on anything else because I will wreck them so easily. Let's see if this thing's getting dry enough to peel. It's not. It's still way too wet.
Wow.
So we're going to have to set these ones with the Frisket masking fluid away and let them dry for a while.
This is like an opera pink, I think.
And we'll go back and do something else, like this project. And then I had those other things and those other things. And oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I had too many things this morning.
How can you have too many things?
Oh man, I couldn't settle on what I wanted to do.
And I had no plans, so there you go. Just a hot mess here.
We have a lot of people here. Did we say hi to everyone? Julie and Kathy and Peggy and Carol, Vicky, Carla, Debbie, Ingrid. I know we said hi to Ingrid because she was the first one here.
This is a
new color. Rennie, hi.
Shel will like this color.
Is it your new Daniel Smith?
Yeah.
Ooh, I really will like it.
And to me, it is not a violet.
So you're saying they're lying to you?
I'm saying it's a purple.
I need a water-soluble pencil of some sort.
Which one is this?
That
This
one.
is supposed to be
Orange. Yeah, let's go with orange. Okay, so I've got this splashy background, and I wanted to figure out some shapes in it, I think. Wanted to just give myself some shapes that are already there, right? So you're looking at something and you're saying, what is there? What can I make? I like doing this. This is something that I really enjoy. Ding.
ding.
Somebody wants you.
Yeah, that is not violet. That's purple. Sorry.
Purple. Yay, purple.
Like I said, Shel will love this.
Of course. I'm a fan. So I'm using a Stabilo all pencil. You know, I'll have these in black, but they come in a lot of different colors. This one's orange. Not sure what it says on it. Doesn't say the color, but it's definitely orange. Aquarellable. Stabilo all. Writes on paper, glass, plastic, and metal. But what we all like about it is that it's super, super, super water soluble. Really reactive to water. So I'm hoping that it will eventually just fade as I start to do other things to this. So I'm drawing around some of these shapes. You can do this with alcohol ink too. Over here is where I put the salt. You can see how it's, you know, granulated out or whatever.
I've got to say that Naples is really a pale yellow. Interesting.
I always thought it was akin to a neutral, really.
Well, you know, that's why I like it. When it comes to acrylics, I'd never had it in a watercolor before. So yes, I would say it is a good neutralizer.
Yep, that's what I thought it would be like. But who knows? I mean, it could be even Naples Yellow in different brands is different. A different color. I want you to go away.
Yeah, this is definitely the Daniel Smith.
Well, we like Daniel Smith. He's a cool guy. I don't know who he is, but I definitely like him.
So another one that's got to dry.
Oh, look, there's a little heart right there. Isn't that cute? Just found a little heart.
Some of these are drying down with some pretty harsh lines on them.
Maybe you can mush them.
That's what I'm, yeah. That's where I'm headed.
Mush.
Scrub it out a little bit.
Okay. Now, I've got my lines drawn, and now I just have to figure out what shall I use? That's the question. Maybe I will use some of this white because I know that it's opaque. And it might do what I want. So let's find out.
So you can see this one had the drawing on there with the masking fluid. So I'm going to let it dry down some more before I pull that masking fluid.
Yeah, I'm letting my masking fluid things dry completely as much as possible. Ooh, big drip. Didn't mean to drip so much.
I was going to look for see if I can find a brush and explain something to you guys a little bit. These little brushes are what I call my scrubbers.
Yeah.
So like if I am wanting to isolate and remove some color, I've got that one's a little bit too soft. This one's nice, and you want a nice firm scrubbing brush. That wasn't the one I was looking for in particular. But you guys get the idea. What I'm talking about is something that's a very firm brush that you can scrub the paper with. See, this one's a little bit too soft.
And that's when you want a nice quality paper too.
This one is nice and stiff. Right. You do want a better quality paper.
Because
So
you'll scrub it into bumps. You're not careful.
Take a piece like this that I have something already on here, and I want to remove some of that color. I can take my scrubber and just a tissue, and I can start wetting this. And dabbing to remove color. And this is highly saturated. You don't want to scrub so hard that you're scrubbing up the paper fiber. So you may come back several times and let this dry down. Because you don't want to pill your paper.
Your paper can be such a pill.
Yeah. But you can see how I'm lifting color off of here with my tissue. And isolating in this area here. And this is how you can create some definition and line on something like this.
Probably going to have to put more than one coat for this background. But it's fun.
Hi, Ingrid. Ingrid says she has a brush that was worth every penny.
Yeah, I mean, if you really are gonna get a brush for watercolor,
you know, and that's the thing. How much are you going to be into watercolor? You know, if watercolor is really your thing, you may not feel too bad about investing in a better brush. But you know, as student grade, you can get some pretty good brushes.
Yeah, I think, I think synthetic sable works pretty well. It's got a lot of the same properties, but I don't think that the longevity is there. She's talking about how she's had some
Yeah.
for years.
Well, but know that it's a natural bristle brush. You also can end up with some critters because it's a natural bristle brush. Because I know people that had really expensive brushes and they were destroyed
By moths or something?
by critters because they were
Mites.
natural bristle. So you can see where I'm lifting color in here. And this takes a while. This is a process. You know, so you do some, you let it dry, you do some, you know, you keep on working this. And this is the kind of thing that I do not mind doing when I'm just kind of doing something mindless and, you know, got something running in the background. Yeah. Okay. So obviously I had no direction today and could care less where I went with all of this, right? I am such a hot mess today. I wanted to do some washes with these colors, which if I'm doing that, I want a nice flat brush, and this is not a nice flat brush. These are these Dynasty brushes that were sent to me.
I've never had anybody send me brushes before.
Yeah, I was lucky. So I've got a nice flat, and I want to use some of these colors here.
So I hope you guys can see what's going on here. I'm using this white Japanese color to go over and take out the background after I've drawn in some shapes based on my splashy background washes that I did. And it's a lot of fun.
That one.
I enjoy it. It would be maybe quicker if you were going to go a mixed media route on this to use like an acrylic ink or an India ink, because you could get the wash done a lot faster in the background because it wouldn't be picking up the other colors. But I like the way it picks up the other colors. I think that's interesting. So that's why I did it that way. Get the center going on this big flower over here. And if you can't tell what it is, it's supposed to be a vase with flowers because I'm ready for spring to come already.
Oh yeah.
I lose my patience.
I hear you.
So I've been making flowers. By the time spring comes, I'll be over flowers and I'll be on to something else.
Well, and I was going to be so into that 28 days of flowers this month. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't done, I think I've done one.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, I've made flowers, just not specifically the ones they said.
Yeah.
I might finally be getting a little bit tired of challenges, maybe. I'm
Yeah,
not
maybe.
sure.
Maybe so, because we've had a bunch of them since the beginning of the year, right?
Yep, everybody's got something going on. It's like,
Wrong color there.
how many can I do? I mean, this month there's like so many different things that you could choose to do. And then, of course, we've got a challenge too. It's like everybody's got one.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to need to let this dry a bit, I think. But you guys get the idea, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fun to do. Let's see if we can maybe take some masking fluid off something else and see what it looks like. See how it comes off. Is this dry? I'm just going to hit it with a quick. Grab a piece of regular masking tape here. Just plain old masking tape is about done for here. It's like hardly any on there, but well, that didn't work, did it? What is going on with you? It's because you're just about empty. That's why. I was gonna make myself a loop. Dang it. I need some new masking tape, obviously. Well, I guess we'll try it with some less tacky tape.
So I think one of the floral things was a color. I think it was a green. This is kind of a green blue. Okay, so now I'm wearing splatters on my glasses. Wearing splatters on my glasses.
All right, this is fun. Get some of that stuff off.
I like this shimmery green, but I also like, oh, I really like that. I'll mix some of that.
You have the serpentine from Daniel Smith, the one with the gems in it.
No, this is a Paul Rubens palette.
Oh, Paul Rubens, yeah. Now, see, there's a palette you can get that's not expensive.
Right, it's not.
And it's got bright colors.
But I like, and they're only quarter pans, you know, they're not that big.
But how much do you really need? I mean,
but I'm going to grab some of these colors. I'm going to mix a little bit. This is kind of a silver gray. I want to add some of this green. To that. I'm thinking it's still pretty wet, but I'm going to try a little bit of shadowing on here anyway.
well, that was super fun. I enjoyed that. It came off pretty easily. You can still rub it with your fingers. You didn't get quite all of it, but that's the Incredible White Mask Liquid Frisket using the original Incredible nib, wooden nib situation on an inexpensive cold press paper. I think this is D paper. yeah, it came out nice and white. So let's see what happens with this one. It didn't dry down as vivid as I wanted it, but see what happens when we take the masking fluid off. And my little fishies. And I can always come back in with, if I want to leave it as a watercolor, I can, or I could come and give it some mixed media effects with some Posca. This one might be a good candidate for a little Posca. What am I going to be able to frisk it with that? See what that bubbles look like. Oh, I'm getting the paper to come up too much, and the pigment's actually coming off the paper strangely. Maybe I'll just rub instead of pulling. So with the black paper, it looks like the pigment, a lot of this more opaque pigment is laying on the surface of the paper. It didn't soak in. So then when I was pulling with the tape to get the frisket off, I was pulling pigment off as well, which is kind of strange. So it's really just all about what effect do you want. Your fingers do not appreciate that scratchiness going over that. That's why I was using tape, because I didn't want to. My fingers are so dry. But yeah, that's super cute, right? Something that's actually got a little bit of a sheen to it. The Japanese colors have a sheen. The ones that I used from this palette, the Ganzi Tambai, which is interesting. It kind of almost looks like acrylic because it's got that. I don't know if you guys are seeing it on the screen or not. And then the neon colors that I used from this homemade palette are completely flat. So you're getting a combination of sheen and flat. There we go. Now you guys can probably see the sheen there. So that's interesting too. Black watercolor paper. Who would have thunk it, right?
Right.
It's just weird. It's just weird, people.
That is weird.
But it's fun, and I like the effect. And I mean, I think this would be a cute little painting to have in your bathroom, or
Yeah,
fun to make it into a card. 6x6 square card. I have some envelopes. So. Yep, I've just been going 6x6 around here. Oh, the other thing I had wanted to think about. I had another experiment going here because, you know, that's how I roll. I still haven't finished this one. How much time do we have left? Oh, we've only got 15 minutes-ish. Okay, so with a stencil, I went through the stencil on this side. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one was with absorbent ground, which is for watercolor, for putting on watercolor to prime something that's not watercolor paper for watercolor, right? And this one is molding paste on this side. Both Golden products. Golden molding paste and absorbent ground. And I just went through a stencil with a silicone brush, a silicone blade, you know, this. Went through the stencil with this, and then picked it up, let it dry overnight. And I was curious, because that's how I find out stuff. I'm just curious what happens here. So let's see, what's a palette we haven't used yet?
Where's my other one?
Oh, this one. Yeah, this is a weird palette. I bought this a long time ago, and I don't think I've ever even used it. It came with the water brush, and it came with this. It's supposed to, there we go. Look at this. Is this weird? This is like a travel set, right? So you end up with 42 colors. And I don't know what kind they are because I don't think I've ever even used it. And I thought to myself, oh, this would be great for travel. It even has a mixing pan here. It's got a place for your brush. It's got a place to keep your watercolor wet if you put water on there. But I really don't know. I can't tell you anything about it. I haven't even swatched it. But let's try it with these two pieces and see what we get. I don't think I'm going to use that. I'm going to use a big flat brush. This one's awfully big though, but oh well. Let's try some green first. I don't know how long this would last. I don't know. I just, it's one of those things, you see something and you're like, I want to try that. And so you buy it and then you don't try it because
it's still very, very wet.
You forget, right? Does anybody else do that besides me?
I need to be in Arizona to do watercolor.
It's nice because it dries quickly.
It's too wet here. See, I'm scrubbing paper now instead of my paper's too wet.
See, how about this dark color? What color is that?
Making a mess.
I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing.
Because it's too wet. It's just too wet.
That's kind of a really olivey color. Almost brown.
So you know what that means.
Yep, gotta dry it. Clean as I can with all this dirty water that I have. All three of my things are like totally dirty now. Let's see, what do we got? We've got some nice reds here, reddy orangey colors. Let's try some of those.
What did I do?
So I'm just putting washes over just to see what I'll get. And there's definitely a difference. There's a huge difference between these as to what the effect is. The absorbent ground is giving me some pattern, but it's subtle. So if you want just like a subtle background, this might be kind of a fun exercise. Don't want to get too much of the green and the orange and red mix because you know what color that makes. Some people call it mud. I call it poop.
Huh.
How about this yellow? What color is the yellow? Oh, that's pretty. It's pretty. Let's get some yellow in there. Ah, my experiments. So I think this palette doesn't suck. I think it would be something you could definitely take with you on a trip. But not a long trip, because I don't think that these little tiny pans are going to last all that long.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, going for a week or something, my brush is gross.
Which is why I like to buy the tube so I can refill.
Yeah. That's not a very nice color. Let's try this one down here. It's just getting too much blendy there. But that's pretty fun. And it does come with its own little brush. So that's kind of cool. And this is also Japanese. I can tell because, yeah, Japanese. I can't read what it is. So that means it's the same type of color as my Koi and my Gansey Tanbai ones. So that answers that question. So let's just give it a little spritz here and there just to encourage some color blending. And the one on the left is the absorbent ground, and it is definitely very subtle, but still interesting patterning. And the paper is cold press bee paper, I think, the scraps that I had. So that's fun.
I did send for some schminkies.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you buy them from Watercolor Hoarder, or did you get them?
No, I got a set. You know, because I got to have the tubes.
Yeah.
Or I got to have the bigger palette, or I got to, you know.
Mm.
So I don't know. It wasn't that bad. The one I got, I didn't buy the real expensive set.
So did you get the super granulating?
I think so.
Yeah. Because they do have regular watercolors too.
Yeah, they do. Because
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw something. I said, "Oh," and clicked.
Yeah, that's what happens to me.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, I found out I have 5 cents in quarter cans of the super granulating ones, which I thought was all of them. And guess what? It's not.
No.
Grr. There's more sets.
Of course there are.
Thought I was doing so well. And then there's at least 2 more. There's Volcano, which probably has a bunch of really nice warm colors, I bet. Grr. So yeah, that's what happened to me.
So I think these were the Art by Marlene palette colors. They're bright, vibrant. Everybody loves the bright, vibrant. So I thought I'd use them today.
I love the bright, vibrant. I'm a bright color person for sure.
But that makes a cute little collage fodder piece, right?
Did you cut it out?
Yep.
Yep. It's blue.
It's still wet, so I can't pull.
Oh, my water's so gross. Which one is the cleanest? I can't tell. None of them. Gross, gross, gross.
I'll just mop it because I don't have time for all that. All the puddles. I don't have time for the puddles.
No more puddles.
So, let's see what we got here.
Somebody's smashing around things downstairs. I don't know what's going on there. I hear plates hitting the counter. Think, what are you doing? Guessing it's my son. He's probably in a hurry. I did have the door shut, but somebody opened it. Probably somebody very small opened it.
With 4 feet?
Yes, you know the one. Because she's not in here anymore, so my guess is that that's what happened. Oh, but she's back, apparently. Whatever was so interesting is no longer interesting her anymore, and now she's back. Whatever she had to know about what was going on is now no longer interesting. So I'm just dabbing in some color to just pump up the color a little bit on some of these, like you do. It's a terracotta pot, don't you know?
So I guess this is fulfilling my desire for flowers here.
You know, some days you just gotta have flowers. Just saying.
I've been watching gardening on YouTube lately.
Oh no.
I know. It's like, okay, I'm ready to click to order my stuff to plant, and it's like, it's February. What are you thinking? You're not going to have warm weather till May.
One of my tomato plants, you know, I have above like a rolling raised bed thing, and one of them has actually survived.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
That would be
I covered
nice.
it a couple nights, but yeah, it's still there. Still has tomatoes on it.
That would be very nice.
Yeah. What exactly is planned?
Yeah, I'm ready for spring. So ready for spring. That's kind of pretty. And then these pieces can just be torn up for background stuff. That. Because they're just kind of fun.
Really brownish. So you guys get the idea on this. It's all watercolor. But yeah, that's kind of fun, right? I think we're just about done.
Yeah.
So this is starting to dry down. See, very subtle effect of the stencil with the absorbent ground. And remember, absorbent ground is to make things more absorbent, right? So what I thought was going to happen, so, I mean, this is watercolor paper, so it's already absorbent, but I thought perhaps the ground would really suck in the color and make those parts right. and the background more subtle, but that's not what happened at all. But it still is interesting. And then this is with molding paste, and it's absorbed some of the color as well. So that's kind of cool. And then we've got our black watercolor with the masking, which kind of turned out interesting. And then this was white with masking. I could see putting some more layers of color on there and kind of adding it, because it's supposed to be vines. Adding a little bit more color. So,
Make it
yeah.
So this.
A lot of projects. A lot of projects. And I still didn't get to what I was going to do with the tube color. So, yeah. Lots of palettes. I never used the starry colors, but I do like how they turn out on black. They're very pretty on black. And I didn't find any metallic watercolors that I thought I had. So I must have imagined that.
You imagined it?
I think so. I think I imagined it. I thought I had a set of them, like tubes, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know where they are.
Huh.
Couldn't find them. And I pretty much sorted my stuff at this point, so it seems like I should be able to find it. And we played with this neon set that I got from the Handmade Watercolors, which this one, I can't remember what brand. The Jasper Stardust, maybe? I don't know. It's handmade, though. I know that.
Yeah.
Use some rubbing alcohol and some salt and some masking fluid. I can't think of anything else. Yep. So don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you liked. It does look like batik. It definitely does. This is definitely a batik effect, where you put wax on fabric and then dye it.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like that.
It does.
It's just masking fluid on paper instead. So.
Right.
All right.
Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed today. Hope you get out some watercolor this month and have a play, because that's all we've been doing is just playing around with watercolor.
Yep, watercolor all month. We'll be doing it again next week with some other products. I think we're doing pencil and crayon. Is that right?
Something like that. I think drips and drops is the last week. I think
drips and drops. Okay.
I think it's yeah.
We did powders last week.
Crayons kind of stuff next week.
Yeah. Crayons and sticks and pencils. Yeah, that's what it is. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate all the kind comments, and I'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.